Note to listeners: this episode contains descriptions of workplace exploitation and sexual coercion. Listener discretion is advised. Valentine's Day is coming up. Millions of people around the world are thinking about flowers. Roses, lilies, tulips, those perfect blooms that say I love you without words. Symbols of beauty, romance, and celebration. But behind every bouquet is a story most people never see. A story of environmental destruction and worker exploitation that runs deeper than anyone imagines. Welcome to Season 3 of Roots Revealed. I'm Binish aka Beans, your guide to the fascinating history, culture, and science of plants. Together, we'll uncover how plants have shaped civilizations, ecosystems, and our understanding of the natural world. Let's kick off our next episode. Sub-Saharan Africa is a major supplier in the global cut flower trade, accounting for 17% of all flowers traded worldwide. The regional industry is valued at $1.4 billion annually. Kenya is the continent's leader, now supplying over 16% of global rose exports. Together with Ethiopia, these two countries export flowers worth nearly $900 million each year, mainly to markets in Europe and the Middle East. However, this beautiful industry has a hidden and toxic cost. Let's start with the chemicals. A flower farm in countries like Ethiopia and Kenya looks like a garden, but it's really a chemical factory. Researchers have identified 201 different pesticide substances used in cut flower cultivation. Of those, 93 are banned in the European Union, too dangerous for European soil, European water, and European workers. But in developing countries, they are sprayed freely. About 1/5 of the chemicals used in flower farming in developing countries are either banned or not tested in the US. Regulatory arbitrage. Companies using chemicals in poorer countries that would be illegal back home. In Ethiopia, researchers found about 156 different chemicals being used in flower farms in just one district. Two of them, impulse and meltatics, are banned by the World Health Organization, yet they are being sprayed on flowers destined for dining tables and bedside tables around the world. These chemicals cause cancer, birth defects, reproductive damage, and nervous system damage, and the workers are exposed at every stage: planting, growing, cutting, packing, meaning the health risks are constant and unavoidable. Then there's water. In Ethiopia's Walmera district, flower farms use about 300,000 cubic meters of water per hectare. They discharge 7,200 cubic meters of wastewater back into the environment every year. Wastewater loaded with pesticides and fertilizers. In Kenya, cut flowers account for 45% of the country's virtual water exports. More than half of the water extracted from Lake Naivasha, a critical freshwater source, goes to the floriculture industry. The flower industry in Kenya is the country's second largest foreign exchange earner, providing jobs and incomes for hundreds and thousands of people. This creates an impossible choice: immediate economical survival or long-term environmental sustainability. The farms are also pumping greenhouse gases into the atmosphere. In Ethiopian farms, burning leftover plant material releases over 7 gigagrams of CO2 per year, plus nitrous oxide and methane. The fertilizers used generate even more emissions. The nitrous oxide from these fertilizers has a global warming potential 310 times greater than CO2 over a 100-year period. The wastewater discharge causes eutrophication, where excess nutrients choke waterways, killing fishes and destroying ecosystems. The water becomes more acidic, and communities downstream pay the price. The chemicals, the water, the emissions, that's the environmental crisis. Running parallel to this is a human crisis just as devastating. Someone has to work in these chemical-soaked greenhouses. Someone has to cut those flowers, handle those pesticides, and breathe that air. Usually, that someone is a woman. Women make up 56 to 75% of the flower workforce, depending on the region. During peak seasons, Valentine's Day or Mother's Day, workers are forced to work double shifts, 12 to 16 hours per day, sometimes more, under intense monitoring to keep productivity high. Valentine's Day pressure runs through the entire supply chain weeks before the actual day arrives. This creates a feast or famine cycle. Brutal hours during the peaks, then potential underemployment or no work at all when demand drops. No stability, no security, just constant uncertainty. Many of these pesticides are neurotoxicants. They directly damage the nervous system. Workers are exposed to chemicals like carbendazim, mancozeb, thiram, and more, all confirmed or possible neurotoxins. They cause headaches, dizziness, and long-term cognitive impairment. Research shows that pesticide use is impacting workers' children, affecting their mental and neurophysical abilities. The damage extends beyond a single generation, creating a cycle of harm. The exploitation specific to women is severe. Workers are given impossibly high targets. Even working 12 to 14 hours shift, they can't meet them. When they fail, female workers are told they have to finish the work the next day without pay, or they're expected to offer bribes or sexual favors to supervisors just to keep their jobs. Institutionalized sexual exploitation as a mechanism of control. If a woman gets pregnant, she is likely to lose her job when she goes on maternity leave. There is no time allowance to breastfeed. Women aren't provided transportation even though they live far from farms, forcing them to leave their children in what are described as hazardous day and night care centers. The industry extracts labor while making basic motherhood nearly impossible. The wages make everything worse. In Kenya, workers earn about 895 euros per year in base salary. The living wage benchmark is 2,808 euros, less than a third of what they need to live with dignity, ensuring that even full-time work keeps them trapped in poverty. This chronic financial stress manifests as depression, anxiety, and substance abuse. The work itself creates the conditions that drive people to desperate coping mechanisms. In a study of Ethiopian flower workers, 83.3% reported experiencing at least one health problem in the previous year. These issues included headaches, fatigue, respiratory problems, musculoskeletal injuries, and skin injuries. Specifically, body weaknesses was the most common neurological symptom reported. The study documented clinical mental health disorders, not just minor complaints. In addition, there is a significant physical toll. Cutting flowers for 12, 14, or even 16 hours a day, day after day, year after year, takes a severe toll on the body. Permanent wrist damage is common, including conditions such as carpal tunnel syndrome, tendonitis, and other repetitive strain injuries. Approximately 2/3 of workers suffering from these injuries are women. Chronic pain becomes a reality as they watch their bodies break down while still young, adding another layer of trauma. This isn't a few bad actors or poor management at individual farms. This is systemic. The entire structure of the global flower industry is designed to extract maximum productivity while minimizing costs and accountability. The flower industry, however, does provide essential employment. In Kenya alone, 130,000 to 150,000 direct jobs. Similar numbers in other producing regions. For many families, this is the only income source available. The solution isn't shutting down the industry, it's demanding fundamental and systemic change. Stronger environmental regulations that actually stop banned pesticides from being used, human rights law with real enforcement and not just paperwork, a shift to safer chemicals, wages that cover the actual cost of living, the right to form unions, real health protection for workers, including support for mothers and mental health care. Without these changes, the industry will keep growing beautiful flowers while destroying the environment and the people who grow them. Valentine's Day is built on a specific kind of magic, the idea that a gesture can be pure, romantic, and simple. But as we've seen, the supply chain behind the gesture is anything but. When we peel back the cellophane, we find a system that relies on silence, the silence of workers who can't safely organize, and the silence of consumers who don't know what to ask. But this isn't a reason to give up on the gesture. It's a reason to change the source. There is a growing movement toward fair trade certified flowers where farms are audited for living wages, capped working hours, and the elimination of those EU banned pesticides. Some florists are shifting to slow flowers, locally grown, seasonal varieties that don't require refrigerated jets or chemical preservatives to survive a cross-continental flight. The roses on our table shouldn't have to cost someone else their health, their dignity, or their environment. The next time you hold a bouquet, remember that it passed through the hands of a woman in Ethiopia or Kenya who worked to put it there. By choosing certified sustainable flowers, you're making sure her labor is respected. It's time we started valuing her life as much as the flowers she grows. Real love, after all, shouldn't have a hidden cost. Thank you for listening. Thank you for tuning into Roots Revealed. Support the show by leaving a review on your favorite podcast platform and sharing episodes with friends and family. If you have any feedback or suggestions, reach out to me at hello@rootsrevealed.org. Remember to keep exploring your roots and celebrating the rich diversity of our shared history. See you next time. Bye.